Hello, everybody. It is I, Mr. Cinema Junkie, and I think for the first time ever, I'm going to do a double feature review on my channel. I usually keep it to one movie, but this time I'm going to do two because, well, there's not a lot to say about either one of them, other than the fact that, surprise, surprise, I actually liked both of them. Um, they're both sequels, and they're both way down the line in sequels. Okay, not part two, not part three, even. One is a part 4 and the other is a part 5. Usually when they get that far down the line, it's like, uh... So I was really, really surprised at how much I liked both these movies. So let's get started, shall we? First off, let's go with the part 4, and that was Wrong Turn 4. This is a bit of a prequel. In fact, it is a prequel, because the guys from part 1, the three brothers, the three deformed brothers, they show kind of like their start. Not so much like when they were little children, but it picks up in the 70s, early 70s, and they are all patients at a clinic, a sanatorium, basically. And the whole place is filled with lunatics and, more specifically, deformed inbred lunatics. Um, They seem to be the smartest of the bunch, though, because they were able to figure out a way to pick the lock on their cell and get out and attack the orderly, and then let everybody else out of their cells, and they take over the place, basically, and everybody escapes. But those three stay behind, make that place their home. Um, so years later, in I think it's 2003 or 2008, not exactly sure at this point, but a group of college students go uh, snowmobiling. It's the middle of winter, and they go to hang out at this at their friend's place, but they make a wrong turn, and they even say in the beginning, the guy's like, oh, he's making a wrong turn. I just know he is. When I heard that, I was kind of like, oh, but I'll forgive it. But definitely, they do make a wrong turn, and they wind up by the old sanatorium, and they decide to seek shelter in this place. They do some exploring. They find all sorts of stuff like old wheelchairs, things like that. They have a big party in there, and so on and so forth. Then they start getting picked off one by one by the three brothers. There's a scene where they start carving up this guy while he's alive and start treating him like, start like deep frying him, like pieces of him, like tempura, and they're taking turns eating pieces of him and stuff. And there's a lot of blood, there's a lot of guts, there's a lot of cannibalism type stuff. But I can watch stuff like that all day, every day, and never really bat an eye. What what got me this time, I actually had like a little gag moment where I was kind of like, uh, you know, um, it's so silly. But the youngest of the brothers, jumps on the orderly when they attack him, when they're about to make their escape and stuff. He kneels down on top of this guy. They've stabbed him in the eye. They've attacked him. They have him laid out. Well, he gets down on all fours and he bites the guy's nose off. And all this right here is missing. Everything right here. All this rips the whole thing off his face. And then he gets up and he's chewing it. No problem. Until I started thinking about, I did it to myself basically. I started thinking about all the hair and the boogers that was in this guy's nose. You don't have to bite someone's nose off to get to me. That part probably wouldn't bother me as much. But if you stuck your tongue up someone's nose, just stuck it in there, you'd probably make me puke. Because that's disgusting. I'm just weird that way, guys. I'm sorry. But Wrong Turn 4 was definitely cool. Had an ending I didn't see coming, so it caught me off guard, and I love that. Um, Silly in some parts, sure. A little over the top, yes. But entertaining, most definitely. And so much better than 2. I haven't even seen 3. I saw 2 and it turned me off to seeing 3. So now I've seen part 4. I think I might add all 4 of them to my collection. I think I have the first one. That's it. So yeah, definitely give it a look. I think you guys might like it. And speaking of sequels, let's go to the part 5 that I saw, and that was Final Destination 5. Now, after seeing 3 and 4, I was just real iffy about 5. I was like, oh god, here we go. Everything got so loose, everything got so terribly loose in those sequels. It was kind of like they're just really nitpicking at how these people were connected. It's like the people in the plane in part 1, uh, they were somehow affected people in part 2, but then by part 3 and 4, it was just like, wait a minute, it started to get really loose and very, like, just forcing that whole thing in. So part 5 came along, and I was just like, hey, I got nothing better to do. Let's check it out. Because by that point, you're not watching it so much for a storyline. You're watching it for the kills. You want to see how original the kills are going to be. Just like with Saw, the Saw series. A lot of people, oh, the Saw movies, they suck. Oh, the story is so convoluted. By 3 or 4, you don't care. All you want to see is how are they going to get killed? Is it going to be something original? Is it going to be something really bloody, really messy? That's what you watch it for. And that's what Final Destination became. It just became a whole thing of how is this person going to bite the dust? We've had people get their heads bashed in with car motors. We've had people killed with nail guns. We've had just all sorts of different things. And how are they going to top it in this movie? So, having said that, that's what I went into it with. So my expectations were already really low, which is always a good way to face a new movie, with your expectations low. Because when they get hyped to death, more times than not, you're going to be disappointed. Nobody has told me anything about Final Destination 5. So I went in, expectations were low. I just watched it for what it was. And I have to say, I was mildly impressed. Mildly impressed. Um, do I hate the movie? Not at all. Do I think it's the greatest movie ever made? Not really. But I do definitely think that they finally gave it the treatment it deserved. And most importantly, they tied it in so much better. The way they tied it in was genius. It was absolute genius. I didn't see that. I did not even for a minute say, hey, wait a minute. This must mean, or this must be nothing. I got no clue whatsoever until right at the very end. And I'm like, oh, shit. Seriously? Nice. Very cool. Very clever. So I definitely dug that part of it. The kills were kind of over the top. Some of them were almost unbelievable, but it's cool. It's cool. I liked it. So yeah, I'm winning, man. I had a full weekend of movies. I've seen a bunch of movies, actually, like maybe 7 or 8 movies, and out of all of those, there was only one that I can say that I didn't like. So I'd say that's not bad, really. So I hope you enjoyed the review. Sorry it wasn't a little more in depth, but there you have it. Part 4, Wrong Turn 4, and Final Destination 5. Definitely check them out if you haven't already. And if you have, without leaving any spoilers, comment below and tell me what you thought of them. Thanks, guys. This is Mr. Cinema Junkie signing out, and I will be back as soon as possible. Talk to you later.